Which Indian batter is going to score the most runs in the Test series against England, would you say?
Karan Nair.
Yeah?
I think they have to play him. He's made like 1 billion runs in the last couple of years.
So he will come in and score more runs than Jaiswal,
I'd be really...
Gill,
I
Kohli.
think I'd be really interesting to see where they bowl to Jaiswal, because I think that there's a whole flock of young players, and Vaibhav, who we just talked about, is one of them. Harry Brook is another one. Jaiswal, Mendes in Sri Lanka. These players are incredible when you bowl straight at them. When you bowl really wide to them, they suddenly don't look anywhere near as good. And I think a whole generation of bowlers is working this out and going, oh, these guys are used to the wobble ball just being straight at them. Let's just hang it wide. They've got no patience. So Jaiswal, I think, is part of that, and Harry Brook is part of that. So it'd be interesting to see how they fight back once teams do that. So Jaiswal has to deal with that. He has to deal with coming to England. Shubman Gill is still batting slightly out of position. I think he's a fantastic player. Rohit is not in very good form at the moment, and Virat hasn't made Test runs in a long time. So KL Rahul and people like Karan Nair, I think, still have a very good chance of making a lot of runs in this series, assuming that Karan Nair actually gets picked.
I'd look at Rahul. I think he's in a good position. Again, what sort of pitches are they going to play on?
Yeah.
What's the attack going to be? You could almost say what England's attack will be. They'll certainly try this lad Cook. Carse will be roundabout. They really like Tong. Atkinson will be there. Then you talk about the spinner, which they've obviously got a blind spot with a spinner because he don't get anybody out. And he's not a batter, he's not a fielder.
Yeah.
But they're backing him to the hilt.
I can't see him playing all the way through the end of the summer.
Karun Nair isn't on the centrally contracted.
No.
Right. So as things stand, you'd imagine they will go with Rohit and Jaiswal, Gill at 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Kohli at 4.
Yeah.
Probably KL at 5.
Probably
Yeah,
KL at 5.
That's where I'm going 5. Nice place to bat.
And Rishabh Pant at 6.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Jadeja.
And then Jadeja at 7. So
Good lineup. Good lineup.
So let's say Nair isn't in the first Test.
I don't think he'll start. Who
scores the most runs?
Rohit and Virat, 100% to make it all the way through the series.
Possibly not.
Yeah.
Rahul for me.
You think to make the most runs?
Yeah. It's a great place to bat. In the UK, 5.
Yeah.
Great place to bat.
Well, you might see him bumped up the order.
He batted everywhere, didn't he? He opened against Australia, didn't he?
He opened in the first 2, didn't he? In fact, that innings, in second innings, was the first Test at the Border Gavaskar was at Brisbane, wasn't it?
No, was the Perth.
Oh, Perth. That innings in second innings won the game for them, really. I mean,
yeah, set up the whole game.
Set up the whole game.
He's a hard player to pick for most runs in a series, just because he usually plays 1 or 2 with good innings. And has a bunch of failures
he bats quite slowly as well.
I think I've got question marks over all their players without thinking any of them are destined to fail.
That's why the question is a good one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, maybe it's Rishabh Pant, but I don't know if you've been watching the IPL, Rishabh Pant looks like he's allergic to runs at the moment. So you don't want to get too excited about T20 form compared to Test form, but he's not seeing the ball great. You can tell he's just not picking it up well. And he's making really odd decisions when he's batting as well.
Test match cricket, you've got time. It's quite instant T20. You've got to get on with it or else you're out, that sort of thing. But in Test matches, you can work yourself out. You can get to the other end, prepare well prior to the Test series, and whatever surfaces they play. It's a long, long time to bat. Just you get your mindset ready to play a very long innings.
I'll go with Rishabh Pant then.
Well, yeah, but you go with a number 5 and you go with a number 6. India's tail is quite long, isn't it?
Oh, Jadeja at 7 will handle that.
Well, yeah, you've got Jadeja. So you're going to say Pant or Punt, and Jadeja's coming in next. Fine.
He's a good player.
Then what?
Then they'll probably try and play Nitesh Reddy at 8.
And then
the best 3 bowlers.
And then Siraj.
So Shami. No, it'll be Shami, Bumrah, and one of Siraj, Arshdeep, or.
So there's not a lot of batting to come. So if you're banking on your number 5 or 6 scoring the most runs
Yeah, but if you've got a number 7 is Jadeja and number 8 is Nitesh Reddy, who's already made runs.
What they'll do is to get as long a batting lineup as possible, and then pick their attack as well. There's only 90 overs a day, and they never get 90 overs a day. So, you could actually get away with 4 bowlers and somebody just fill in 5 overs here and there.
So that'll be Nitesh's role. I think the issue they'll have is if the third seamer doesn't stand up.
Yeah.
Jadeja is a good holding bowler in England. It might be great in the 4th innings, but isn't going to do a lot probably outside of that generally. Nitesh Reddy might be a very good bowler for English conditions, but in Australia, he just looked dead straight, seam up. They have to get something out of him. They got something out of Jarrod last time, but obviously, Jarrod's no longer really in favour. Almost played for Essex, didn't he? Yes,
he did. He just backed out right about a week before the start of the season. What about Jaiswal's tendency to go big? Because if I was to say to you, who's going to score the highest innings in this series, would you say KL Rahul? Would you say Rishabh Pant?
No, then you go back to the top order guys, don't you?
So when Jaiswal gets in, he gets in.
Yeah.
Which would be one of the reasons that I would fancy him.
You might just find a real flat pitch and all the experience of Sharma will come through. If there's a flat pitch and there's everything in his favour, he won't get out. He won't give it away.
Also, I think he's not. I don't think Rohit Sharma's been 100% fit for a little while. He just doesn't look right to me. If he's fully fit, then that's also very different at that point. Look, I think Sharma's not been in form. Virat hasn't made consistent test runs.
I don't think anyone's picking Virat, are they?
Yeah. Jaiswal, we just don't know, right? He went to South Africa and he didn't make any runs. He went to Australia and he did make runs. Gill has that issue when you're bowling at the top of off stump over and over again, and that's basically playing in England, right? Yeah. So you at least have to question that. KL will make runs, Rishabh Pant will make runs, but whether they'll make enough. But it depends on what kind of series it is as well. If you have flatter wickets, Rohit and Jaiswal up the top suddenly become completely different beasts, right? And if you have green top wickets, it's probably that 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 section that becomes a lot more important.
The weather has been that dry.
Yeah.
It'll be very difficult to get any sort of moisture into the top surface. Very, very difficult even now. And so I think the pitches will have a tendency to spin later on. So who's got the best spinner or spinners?
Well, see, that's the other thing, of course, because if they are pitches like that, then it's not just going to be about batting against pace bowling, is it?
It's going to be incredibly dry. If we were into May and it had been pouring down forever, there'd be moisture in that top surface and you can never get rid of it. It's been so dry. I've seen pitches at Old Trafford and at Headingley. They're unbelievably dry. And a hosepipe with a bit of flashing here and there will never get the moisture into it because the surfaces now are that dry anyway, that all the drainage takes all the moisture away. And so the moisture content of a test match pitch would be very similar to a 4-day pitch. They're looking to get any sort of moisture at about 23%. But with the weather that it is, it's dropped to 21%. There's no way you can get any sort of moisture in. So spin, if you get enough runs on the board, spin should have a say later on in the game, throughout this summer.
It's interesting though, because they basically said to Ashwin, you're not in our plans now until the next Indian summer, next Indian Open summer. So he just decided to retire. There's always been this talk about whether they should have 4 seamers and 1 spinner when they're in England, or Ashwin and Jadeja. This might be the summer where they needed the second spinner. Kuldeep's fine, but he can't bat like Ashwin, right?
But if you've got a wrist spinner in a 5-day test match with the weather that it's been, dry, I mean, they're worth the weight in gold.
But they are, but then that ruins their batting flexibility.
You might have to sacrifice.
Kuldeep might have to bat at 8, right?
There you go.
And I reckon Kuldeep's like a slightly better version of Matthew Hoggard with the bat, right?
Yeah.
You don't want him at 8. You want him at 9 or 10.
But you can see what the coach is. We've got to get 20 wickets in these conditions, and a wrist spinner in these conditions. What's the young Ahmed, the English spinner? He's only a kid, bowling wrist spin, he's bowling all right. I saw a chap at Old Trafford, Harrison, Callum Harrison, who was on a loan spell at Northants, took 10 wickets at Old Trafford. Finger spinner, not doing anything, he took 10 wickets, wrist spin. And so, you know, I would look away. All the talk will be about Bumrah, the quick bowlers of England. If the weather's like it is, you need a good spinner.
I'm going to say the names and you tell me whether they're going to have a successful series or not. Rohit Sharma.
No.
Yes.
Jaiswal.
Yes.
Yes.
Gill.
Yes.
Yes.
Kohli.
No.
Yes.
KL Rahul.
Yes.
I've got to say yes. I've
course.
backed him to be top scorer.
Rishabh Pant.
Yes.
No.
Do you think it's a good thing? So if I was to say to you, which England player will score the most runs this summer, there's no real discussion, right? It's
Root.
Joe Root, right?
Oh, I thought you meant Crawley. Okay.
Do you think it's a good thing that England are in that position, or do you think it's better that you'd be in India's position?
I know whose batting lineup I'd rather have.
Whose?
Well, it's not England's, is it? No one's
Well, that's what I'm asking.
England's batting lineup over India's.
No, India's batting lineup.
Yeah.
I mean,
The lad Duckett's doing absolutely fine.
no, there's some good players in the English lineup, but like if you're picking between them,
Keep Duckett away from the media. Don't let him do any interviews.
I think Duckett's taken himself away from the media.
Is he good lad?
I thought he was going to sign up for talkSPORT podcast.
Oh.
Friend of the show.
He was saying he was putting Instagrams up about his Duckett hats. We sold him some of his
Yeah, we did.
Duckett hats the
yeah,
other day.
Yeah.
Duckett hats, bucket hats. Duckett's buckets,
Duckett's
Duckett's buckets.
not Crawley's cravats. I see you've got one of Crawley's cravats on today.
Yeah, I quite like this. It just keeps your neck warm. It's not warm outside.